Hey up everyone, hope you're all doing well. It looks like Jon Jones is already back out of retirement, but I also don't think Jon realizes he may have fucked himself over. Anyways, I'm going to stop fucking about. Here's what he said on Twitter. So just an hour and a half ago, he tweeted out this: "Fighting at the White House? Eyes emoji." And when I saw this, I was just thinking, yeah, okay, you're retired, mate. Like, doesn't really work the same. Whenever I see Jon Jones tweets nowadays, I just ignore him. He's literally just rage baiting, and there's still people in the comments who fucking fall for it every single time. If you're one of those people, have a word with yourself. But then he dropped a bombshell. He tweeted out this: "Just re-entered the testing pool that lasted about 2 weeks. Figured we'll keep everyone's options open." So there we have it. Jon Jones is back in the drug testing pool, and his retirement lasted 2 weeks. And he wants to keep the options open. You know, he's had all this time to think about keeping options open, and just within these last 2 weeks, he thought, you know what, I'm going to keep up these options open, which is a bit fucking strange. I'm going to be honest, guys, I'm just fucking still bored. Even with him saying I'm coming back, I'm not getting all excited like you should do when a legend comes out of retirement. You know what I mean? You should get excited, but I'm just not. I'm just bored. It just feels like I'm not bothered. But this time round, it's funny to me, and Jon may have fucked himself over here, because guess what, guys? At first, Jon was the one with the title, and you had Aspinall just wanting to reach that title. You know, let me get that title, Jon, and Jon just wouldn't let him. Well, now Jon retired, vacated, and Aspinall is automatically the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. So now they've swapped places. Of course, Jones still has the legacy and all that, mate, the name, everything, the image, all of that shit. But now Aspinall has the title. So really, if Aspinall wanted, he could just say, nah, you don't deserve a title shot, beat someone else first. I doubt that will be the case, but it is funny to see that it has now flipped, and now Tom Aspinall's in the driving seat. He can say, oh no, I'll fight him instead, I'll fight that instead. You know what I mean? He hasn't got to chase anything. So now if Jon wants to come back, there's no other fight for him. I've seen people say, oh, Pereira beats Magomed Ankalaev. Yeah, but he's got to beat Magomed Ankalaev first, and then fair enough, but he's got to do that one first. We've got to see how that one plays out, so maybe we've got to wait until Thingy, but maybe it would have been more clever of Jon to wait for the result of Pereira and Ankalaev first. I feel like he's still thinking, I don't know if he's thinking of the Pereira fight, else he would have waited for the result of that. I think he's just heard about the White House, thought, yeah, more money possibly, bigger for my legacy, because I get to retire at the White House pretty much, which is like, I don't know, peak for him, I suppose. So there's that. But I want to tell you why this is a bit sus, guys. Where's Jon Jones been for the past, I don't know, like month or so recently? He's been in Thailand messing about with boys' hair, you know, getting chucked about in the swimming pool and whatnot. And he's been out the drug testing pool for 2 weeks. And he's been in Thailand previously, been out of a drug testing pool for 2 weeks. If you're not connecting the dots, you know, he may be back on the source. Just saying. It's a bit suspicious that he left the drug testing pool for 2 weeks. He was retired for 2 weeks. And now after 2 weeks, he's like, oh, got to keep my options open. And now all of a sudden, he could be ready and raring to go at Tom Aspinall. All of a sudden, after showing no interest in dismissing Aspinall for God knows how long. So I'm interested to see how this plays out, because it is very, very suspect, if I may say so. And what I found funny, when I've been watching Daniel Cormier, the podcast with Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo, he pointed out something that is obvious, and for some reason I never put it together. He goes, Jones only ever tested positive against me. The first time around was the cocaine, and DC made a good point on this podcast where he was like, well, if he's willing to take something what could potentially harm him, think of what he would be willing to take in order to help him, which really was like, oh shit, yeah, that is a good point. And then of course the second fight for UFC 200, I think it was meant to be for, he had to pull out the fight because he tested positive for a PED, I can't remember which one it was. And then of course when they actually fought in a rematch, after the result, after the fight happened, about a week or two later, he did test positive again for a performance-enhancing drug. And I think that was the only time he tested positive, which is funny to me because DC was the biggest test of Jon Jones' career. He had the most hype going into a fight, his biggest rival, all stuff like that. And now comes Tom Aspinall, and if he fights him, and let's say he does get caught out again, two of the biggest names he ever fought, two of the biggest threats to Jon Jones he ever fought, he would have tested positive for, which really makes you wonder, You know what I mean? But yeah, there we have it, guys. I'm not going to rattle on for too long and just waffle. Jon Jones is apparently possibly back. He's keeping his options open at the end of the day. Yeah, I know we're getting a bit bored of this, guys. I completely understand, but I had to make a video on it because it is considered big news. But what do you guys make of this? Do you think Jon Jones and Aspinall will happen at the White House? Let me know in the comments. Actually, I find it quite funny. I'm going to waffle a bit. I actually made a video saying what fights could possibly see at the White House, and in the thumbnail I made Jones and Aspinall. I'll probably put it out tomorrow, and I put Jones and Aspinall. Bit of clickbait in a sense, but now it's kind of not clickbait, and I'm going to have to reshoot a bit of that video because it could actually genuinely happen, or at least there's more of a possibility of it. But anyways, what are the chances you think of Jon Jones coming back and fighting Aspinall? Do you think he'll fight Aspinall? Do you think he'll fight Pereira? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching the video. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.